So everyone's talking about the new Gabbie Hanna podcast that dropped. Apparently, Gabbie Hanna did a podcast called Why Trisha Paytas Tried to Ruin My Life, which is on her An Actually Good podcast. It's the first episode. I believe this is her boyfriend sitting next to her. But basically, this has gone pretty viral, or it's spread because people are like, why is Gabbie bringing up Trisha again? Why is Gabbie bringing up drama? I wanted to actually take a look and see what she actually says and what it's about. Because I'm not going to lie, you guys, I feel like there's this narrative that just because everyone hates Gabby for different reasons, that it means that she's always in the wrong. But as far as when it comes to specifically Trisha Paytas, she's actually been pretty truthful. And whenever she got something wrong, she corrected it. Like when they did the podcast and Trisha was like, that never happened. If Gabby saw that it didn't happen, she actually corrected the record. We have a few videos where she's straight up, where we've caught Trisha online about Gabby, like full entire, practically hour-long videos with every single lie Trisha told about Gabby and then proof against it. So I'm probably going to go ahead and include that at some point or link it. But I want to give a clear look at this because I feel like most drama channels just instantly side with Trisha and they don't really like look into the story, like look into the details that are being told. Like I said, we've done videos where we've actually proven that Trisha lied about Gabby and where Gabby was honest and where Gabby wasn't honest. Whereas most drama channels will just take Trisha's narrative and run with it. So when Gabby says, why Trisha Paytas tried to ruin my life, people are like, oh, Trisha's a mother now. She's married. Leave her alone. She's doing things with her own life and look at you. But the truth is, you guys, is that statement is actually kind of accurate. Because for anyone who was around at that time, that actually did happen. Trisha actually did get all of her drama channel friends. And yes, I say friends. And we have videos proving that Trisha has the drama channels in her pocket. She got them all to push this narrative about Gabby that they all pushed and they all ran with. And essentially, they were the reason why Gabby was taken down. Now, when it comes to Jessie Smiles, I personally believe Jessie Smiles over Gabbie Hanna. I just do. Jessie Smiles' account of events, she brought facts, she brought timelines. Gabby wasn't able to combat that, so I don't believe Gabby when it comes to Jessie. However, I do believe Gabby when it comes to Trisha because Gabby's been able to prove timelines and facts and events, whereas Trisha wasn't and hasn't and just relies on her trauma channel friends to help her. So I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at this. I'm going to take a look at this and then we're going to talk about what we think as opposed to the narrative that's already out there. Because I already see everyone's just kind of like instantly shutting her down the moment she talks. And that's exactly what happened last time. People just instantly shut her up. And I don't think that's fair because if you instantly shut her up and you're like, she's crazy, she's picking on Trisha, everything's a lie, then you don't see where she actually is telling the truth. And Trisha actually did come at her. I'm not sure how Gabby is with claims, so I'm going to go ahead and do this where I screen cap it rather than play it. Now, in this video, Gabby pinpoints that the time that her life was attempted to be ruined was through Trisha Paytas. Like, she specifically names her. She says it was Trisha Paytas. She then talks about how she tried to go through all of her records, like all of her phones and laptops and everything to try to find the evidence that she was going to present. And then she said when she did, nobody seemed to care. And that those who did care got mocked. I don't know if I 100% agree with that because I know we're not a big channel, but we did make multiple videos outing the truth, which was that Trisha was lying about Gabby. And I don't remember us receiving any hate for it. I understand what she's saying because people do come at you if you support Gabby. Like, I'm sure we're going to get hate on this video. But I want to tell the truth. I'm not going to just not tell the truth. I feel like this is important to actually say, hey, this is actually what really happened. In this instance, she actually is correct. Oh, that's interesting. So the guy sitting beside her is her husband, and then he actually asks her the question. He actually says we should kind of dive into this from the beginning. So how did you actually meet Trisha? So Gabby's about to say how she meets Trisha. So let's find out. I wish I could play it, you guys, but again, I don't really know how Gabby is with claims. And I know a lot of people do claim, and I want to make sure that this video actually gets spread. So I'm going to be careful here. Okay, so Gabby off the bat says, I knew Trisha. We had some history, but the problem is that Trisha acted like we didn't have history. Now, for anyone who remembers and those who don't, the whole issue was that, well, the whole issue actually started with Jason Nash. Basically, Gabby told Jason that Trisha had something from sleeping with someone, and she told Jason. Trisha got upset because obviously, why would Gabby go to Jason and tell her something about Trisha? And Trisha said you had no idea if that was true or not, and you told him. Gabby later claimed that it was actually Shane Dawson who told her that Trisha had it, and that's why she told Jason, because Gabby at the time was a member of the Vlog Squad and was pretty close to Jason. That was her defense. She was saying that she was just looking out for a friend and she didn't know if Trisha had told him, but that was kind of where it started. But then it kind of unraveled from there, where Gabby said that Trisha and her had been friends, and then Trisha said, I didn't even know her. We weren't friends. Here's where it gets like muddy and dirty. There obviously was communication between them. Trisha obviously did engage with Gabby more than she let on. We've proven that in other videos, and I'll go ahead, if Gabby makes a claim, I'll go ahead and back it up with footage here. Or if Trisha does, if she responds, but I don't think she will. But Trisha basically said, we were never friends. Gabby is just bothering me. She's on top of me. She's pretending we were friends when we weren't. I don't even know her. But the weird thing here is the term friend. Gabby thought they were friends because they had a few conversations, and by few I mean like I think they had a handful over the years, like a couple handfuls over the years. And they had actively spoken several times and invited each other places. And so Gabby, in her mind, thought that they were friends or friendly. Trisha, on the other hand, said that Gabby was nothing but a stranger. But here's where it gets weird, because if anyone watches Trisha, Trisha will do this thing where she'll be like, oh, yeah, my friend did this. And then you find out that her friend is just someone she follows on Instagram who she's never met. So she refers to random strangers as her friends. And then she'll laugh about it like months later and be like, oh, that person wasn't really my friend. I just follow them on Instagram. So it is interesting that like she'll refer to someone who she's never spoken to in her life as her friend and like reference them in daily life. But then a woman that she actually spoke to back and forth and had active conversations with, she claims she doesn't know and that they weren't friends. So it's a weird thing. I think the thing here is that they were friendly, but Trisha tried to act as if they had never spoken in life. So Gabby says that Trisha had tweeted at her and was kind of a low key fan and was kind of like, I want to be VIP at your event, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. Like, kind of just like being friendly on Twitter. And then Gabby ended up responding because she said she also was a low key fan of Trisha. And then she said they actually exchanged numbers and DMs and then began to text. So, to Gabby's credit, this is not someone who's a stranger to someone. You don't just give your number to a stranger. So, there obviously was some kind of friendly dynamic here. So Gabby says that some of the text messages were actually Trisha expressing her gratitude for her friendship, where she would say things like, oh my God, our friendship means so much to me. And Gabby said at the time when she read these messages, she was like, whoa, I haven't even met you yet. Like, this is intense. But that she felt sympathetic toward Trisha because she could tell that Trisha was lonely. Now, whether you believe this is true or not, Trisha did in fact tweet at her. And we have seen a few of the text messages from Trisha to Gabby. I don't know if this particular one exists, but I wouldn't be surprised. So Gabby says that Trisha invited her to her birthday party, and Gabby actually did attend. So again, you guys, this would be more proof that they did have a friendlier relationship than what Trisha led people to believe. Because you don't just invite a random person to your birthday party. Ooh, you guys, this is interesting. So about 8 minutes into the podcast, she starts to talk about the thing that she told Jason. And she says, I had a friend, and at first she doesn't say the name, and then she goes, you know what? I'm just gonna say the name. Everyone knows who it is. And she ends up saying Shane. So she ends up saying Shane told her that Trisha had this issue. So the way that Gabby describes this going is she says that she was hanging out with Shane one day, and Shane casually let it slip that Trisha had this issue that she got from sleeping with someone. And when Gabby was shocked by it, Shane said, oh, everyone knows about it. Trisha talks about it all the time. It's not a secret. Like, she even talks about it online. So Gabby's like, oh, okay. So then she said one day while Trisha and Jason were dating, Jason had come over and he was casually talking to everyone, or he casually mentioned that he had slept with Trisha. And Gabby's response was, did you use protection? And she said she knows that it's a weird question, but she defends this by saying, we're all adult friends, and I didn't know if he knew that she had the issue. So Jason says, no, they didn't use protection. And then Gabby says, hey, Shane Dawson, her best friend, told me this. I don't know if it's true. I don't know why her best friend would lie about this, but Shane Dawson said this. And apparently she's talked about it online too. So that might want to be something that you talk to Trisha about and see if it's true. So that's how Gabby phrases this entire thing. Now, I personally feel like it's the responsibility of the person you're sleeping with to tell you whether you have something or not. I don't think it's a friend of a friend's or a friend's responsibility to tell someone, or even like a friend to be like, to go and be like, hey, this might be happening. Because if Trisha actually did talk about it online and she knew about it, then why would Gabby assume that Jason didn't? Unless she assumed that he didn't because he didn't use protection, and she would think, hey, he probably would have used protection if he knew that she had it. It's a tricky thing because I also understand her position of like, okay, if you're friends, I don't know though, it'd have to be like your best friend, right? But like if your friend was dating someone and you knew that they could potentially get hurt by something, you'd be like, hey, do you know that this is a thing? But the reason why I kind of don't think it's as big of a deal as people made it out to be, because she did say like she was just warning her friend, is Trisha has tweeted stuff like this in the past. So if she wasn't going to tell him, he had a right to know, right? But Gabby also said that she wasn't even 100% sure that it was true. So she told Jason, hey, this is what I heard from Shane, but you should talk to her about it. Which, of course, Trisha was naturally upset because, according to Trisha, Jason actually wanted to stop sleeping with her after that, which actually goes to show you that she didn't tell him anything, but she claims she never had it. But this just goes to show you that she didn't even tell him it was a possibility or that she had it at all, but she claims that she didn't. So take that for what you will. Okay, so when Gabby describes more of this story, basically she's saying, because it's easy to say she crossed the line by discussing anything, which I think it was her crossing the line, but at the same time, if Jason I think she crossed the line and I think she dug a little bit too deep because if Jason said I saw Patricia, there was no reason for Gabby to be like, well, did you use protection? Because that was none of her business. I understand that when she realized that he hadn't used protection, that she was worried for him and then warned him. But again, I don't think the initial conversation of like him saying, hey, I saw Patricia, and then her saying, did you use protection? I don't think that was warranted because I think if anything, I know she was friends with Jason. I know she was like semi close with Trisha. But if I were Gabby in this situation and Shane had told me what he told me, I would have gone to Trisha immediately after Shane said it and I would have said, hey, Shane is saying that you have this and he's telling people that you have this. Are you actually okay with that information being out there? And then she would have learned whether she actually said it or not, in my opinion. But I don't really think that it's kind of justified to have a conversation with Jason where she's like, when he's like, we slept together, and she's like, did you use protection? I don't think that's any of her business. Like, I do think it's fair to warn someone. I don't agree with the circumstances, but I do think the whole conversation in and of itself was odd. I do understand Gabby's argument here though, because she's saying it's an incurable issue. And if her friend had no knowledge of it and he's sleeping with someone unprotected, he does have a right to know. But again, if she actually was saying it online, then wouldn't he know? It's a complicated situation, but I don't think that because she's saying anyone who thinks like, oh, mind your own business, she thinks that that's bad. But like, are we all going into each other's personal, intimate lives and asking each other if we're all sleeping around unprotected or not? I just think that's a bit much. I think if Jason had come to her or announce, like, I'm sleeping with Trisha unprotected, then she would have had a right to say it. I don't think that if he's like, oh, I slept with her, and then she said, was it unprotected? I think that that's kind of weird. And I feel like if she was going to share something, it should have been like if Jason was coming to her for advice. So Gabby in turn says that she didn't even spread the rumor, that Trisha actually spread it because Trisha kept telling everyone, hey, Gabby's saying that I have this. Like specifically naming what Gabby said she had. Gabby saying, I didn't tell anyone other than Jason, but Trisha was the one warning everyone and telling everyone, hey, did Gabby tell you this? Gabby's telling everyone that I have this. And that's how the rumor spread, according to Gabby. So Gabby goes on to say that she had gone to Instagram and created a poll about, would you tell your friend if you knew that someone that they were sleeping with had this issue that you didn't know if they told them or not. She says Trisha got upset. Trisha made a video, which I think we all remember, where Trisha kind of came at Gabby and said what she said. She said what she told Jason. And then she pretty much said, Gabby's crazy. Gabby's not my friend. Gabby, I don't even know her. She thinks me and her are friends, but we've never even talked. I don't know her music. I don't know anything. But then, of course, Trisha actually did know her music. Again, you guys, this is where Trisha lies because Trisha did know her music. Trisha did talk to Gabby. Trisha did know Gabby. And there's like footage that proves it. And Gabby calls us out and she says, well, how is there footage that proves it? And people still didn't believe it. I side with her on this because it's true. Like I said, we made like 2, 3 whole huge videos of all of the lies that Trisha told about Gabby. Like black and white footage of her lying, and it just, everyone ignored it. I'm going to go ahead and include it at the very end. So Gabby starts talking about the campaign that Trisha went on afterwards, where she was making video after video after video about how much she hates Gabby, and she even started to like spread this rumor that, oh my god, Gabby's showing up to my house. I'm sending pictures to my security of what Gabby looks like to keep her away. They said she showed up. Obviously, these are lies, and Trisha has actually told this specific lie about many people. Ethan Klein actually called her out for it on Frenemies. I'll go ahead and include that here, where Ethan even says to Trisha, like, how many people are you going to blame having 24-hour security on? First, you said it was Gabby, then you said it was Moses, then you said it was this person, that person. Trisha does that, or she did do that at the time. Every time she was mad at someone, she would just claim that they kept showing up to her house and that she needed security to keep them away.
Oh, you pull this a lot, by the way. You said he's a psychopath. I have 24-hour security now.
That's
How many
true.
how many people are you going to blame having 24?
There's a lot of people to
You're like,
blame.
man, this guy, I've got 24-hour security now.
I do have to.
Hanny Gabba, I've got 24-hour security. Stalker, I've got 24-hour security.
Gabby obviously never showed up to Trisha's house. Gabby goes on to say that it was kind of ironic that Trisha was calling her crazy and a stalker and all these things because Gabby said that Trisha actually had copied her, that Trisha was a copycat, copied her music, copied her style, copied whatever. Now, I know people are going to think that Gabby is crazy here and just making things up, but this is actually something Trisha does, and I'm going to go ahead and include proof here. She actually does do this where she will dress like or purchase things or mimic the way someone does a song if she's a fan of them. Like her whole entire music career is kind of based off Britney Spears. She's done a lot of Britney like esque type of music videos. She head to toe dresses like those she idolizes. So for instance, Holly Madison, Britney Spears, Pamela Anderson. She actually even dressed up as people just because she wanted to, because she liked it, like Jojo Siwa, David Dobrik, Tana Mojo. She actually, Trisha, has spoken about how when she was a kid, she used to see people and want to be a part of what they were doing. So she would actually dress up exactly like them and then just include herself, even though she wasn't included. Like, Trisha once told a story about how there was these girls in school who dressed alike because they were like besties and they were like buddy and they dressed up. And Trisha, out of nowhere, just copied their whole style to be like a triplet with them, but they like had no idea who she was. So she just kept trying to like be a triplet with them, and then they were like mean to her. But it's like that's what she does. Like that's what Trisha does. So Gabby saying this, it tracks. This is exactly the type of person Trisha is. If she likes something, if she likes you or anything you're doing, she'll copy it. Like look at her whole Gerard Way art era. So Gabby talks about exactly why she's bringing this up 7 years later. She says it was a huge issue in her life and she felt the need to talk about it pretty much. And The thing is people are all like, why are you talking about this? Get over it. But you guys, if you told us, if you guys were being lied about, if you guys told the truth and someone claimed you were a liar and everyone backed that liar up and called you a liar, even though you had proof, even though proof existed out there, you would talk about it too. You would talk about it too. So I'm not surprised Gabby's talking about it, and I don't think that people should shut her up about it. I know people hate her, but I feel like you can't just hate someone and say that everything they say ever is wrong. You can't. I criticize a bunch of creators all the time, and even I don't say everything that they do is wrong. Even with Trisha, I criticize Trisha a lot because she's toxic and she's toxic in all of her relationships and she's a pretty toxic person. But if I see someone being toxic to her, I'm not going to say, oh, she's the toxic one in the situation. No, if they're being toxic to her, they're the toxic one in the situation. You can't just not like someone or think that they're a bad person and then everything in life is their issue. Now, this is interesting. She talks about how she was kind of essentially gaslit on a mass scale. I do agree with her because I do believe that it was an orchestrated attack to keep her quiet and to paint her out to be the liar. Because, like I said, Trisha has drama channels in her back pocket for this exact reason. If she wants a narrative pushed, they all push it. So they kind of like ganged up on her and took her down. Now, she mentions Ethan Klein being responsible too, but I don't think Ethan was responsible for this. I know Ethan wouldn't let her come on the podcast to share her truth because he was being too loyal to Trisha, which, by the way, I personally think is a mistake. Ethan, you should have Gabby on your podcast. You have no loyalty to Trisha. She destroyed your entire family. Please have Gabby on your podcast. But I don't think Ethan's responsible for whatever Gabby's about to say, but let me hear her. Okay, so now we get to the part where Gabby talks about Ethan Klein's part in this. She basically says that Ethan started frenemies and then he would allow Trisha to talk about her on frenemies. And then she said it kind of became a weekly thing where Trisha was talking about her. Now, I don't actually think that this part is true because it wasn't a weekly thing where they were talking about Gabby. In fact, Trisha a lot of the time said that she didn't want to talk about Gabby and she was upset when Ethan titled the episode with Gabby's name or tried to. So I don't think it was like this thing where like Ethan was like, let's talk about Gabby this week. Let's talk. I don't think it was that. But I do agree that because Gabby says, oh, Ethan wouldn't let me come on and like defend myself or like hear the truth out. I do believe that Ethan at the time protected Trisha so much that he didn't really let anyone say anything about her or let the truth come out. Because I remember when Jeff Wittick went on Frenemies, Jeff Wittick said that Trisha showed her, like she took off her top and he didn't want her to. Like, she showed herself off and he didn't want her to. And then Ethan kind of was like, oh, well, don't act like Trisha's doing something to you. Like, you could have just like looked away or something. But that that never made sense to me because like, what do you mean you could just look away? Like, if someone does that to you, what do you mean you could just look away? So I feel like Ethan defended Trisha a lot and he didn't let the truth come out because he was on a popular, successful podcast with her and didn't want to lose that podcast. Even after Trisha and Ethan fell out, Gabby wanted to be on Ethan's podcast and Ethan said no. Ethan had the opportunity to have Gabby on, but he decided to be loyal with Trisha and didn't do it. And then like a day or a week later, Trisha went on the Keemstar podcast. Like Trisha was like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that Ethan didn't have Gabby on his show. Which, by the way, you guys, I think the reason that she was grateful that Gabby wasn't on the show was because Gabby would have exposed the truth. And I know some people are probably gonna be like, why are you siding with Gabby? Like, you're crazy. Gabby's crazy. But we've posted the proof. That's why I'm saying in this scenario, in this specific scenario, Trisha versus Gabby, Gabby did not lie. I'm going to post the footage at the end of this video so you can see. Gabby did not lie about Trisha. Trisha lied about Gabby. You could say whatever you want about Gabby and how she was a liar with everyone else. I agree that I don't believe Gabby when it comes to Jessie Smiles. I don't. I believe Jessie Smiles. But in this scenario with Gabby versus Trisha, I believe Gabby. She didn't seem to do anything in this scenario. And like I said, we have the footage to prove it, and we're going to post it at the end. So Gabby then says that Ethan's crime basically was allowing Trisha to get on a platform and tell lies to ruin people's lives. I agree with this part again, because even Ethan, after they fell out, said, I believed everything that Trisha said. And like, remember how the Mr. Rennie situation came out and then Ethan regretted it and was like, I let her say that. And she kind of went unchecked. And then I think he ended up getting rid of the episode where she made that claim and he actually called her out for it. So Ethan did this thing where no matter what Trisha said, no matter what accusation she made against someone, he just believed her. And I think it was because they were getting along so well. They had a successful podcast. He didn't want to ruin that relationship. He was so scared of losing the podcast because she threatened to walk out all the time that he just insta believed her. But she did tell a lot of lies about a lot of people. She did. A lot of the lies that she told were not true, which is why this channel has posted forever about the lies that she told about many people. And Gabbie Hanna was one of them. So I know people don't have much empathy for Gabby, but you guys, at this point in the podcast, let's see, around the 23-minute mark, she starts talking about how she started going to the doctors because she felt like she was losing her sanity and she felt like she just couldn't reason anymore and she didn't know what was real and what wasn't, because this is what I mean by Trisha did gaslight her. I know a lot of people don't want to believe that, but it's true. Trisha did gaslight her. Gabby had proof, and even proof that Gabby didn't post, that we, this channel, looked up ourselves when we were searching this drama. We looked up ourselves and found that a lot of the things that Gabby claimed were true and Trisha lied about them. Yet nobody wanted to listen to them. We posted it. Gabby posted other things. We even posted things that she didn't post. And just nobody cared. And so I can completely understand why Gabby felt like she just didn't know what was true anymore and she felt gaslit, because it's imagine, you guys, that you're telling the truth, but everyone around you is telling you that you're not telling the truth, but you are, and you have proof to show it, but nobody will look at it. Instead, they're just like, you're crazy, you're crazy. Hey guys, she's crazy, don't look at her proof. And you're just staring at the proof straight in the face and you're like, but this exists, this is here. But no one will look at it, no one will acknowledge it. They just keep saying you're crazy. I can see why that would drive her to feel like she needed to go get mental help, because she was probably like, what is this? Am I the one? Is this real life? Because I would be like that too. I feel like anyone would be. If you know the truth and you're trying to say it and everyone's shutting you up, I think that would drive anyone crazy. To this day, I still don't know how Trisha got away with what she did to Gabby. I know that Gabby was condemned for what she did to Jesse, which was fair. But in this specific scenario, Gabby was not wrong. Gabby was not wrong. Trisha lied about her. Trisha orchestrated a takedown. That is true. It sounds crazy, but it's true. If you guys watched our Gabby videos, which again I'm going to include at the end, or if you watched our videos about Trisha working with the drama channels and what she says and how she gets them to work for her, you would easily believe it. I'm going to include that at the end too, because it's true. And I know people don't like Gabby, but just because you don't like someone, just because they're wrong in other scenarios, doesn't mean that they're wrong in every scenario. So this part is true too. At around the 26-minute mark, Gabby talks about how Trisha said that she was the one traumatized by Gabby, and meanwhile, she was traumatizing Gabby while she was saying that. Again, you guys, I know it might be hard to believe for some of you, but this is true. Trisha was saying, Gabby's so scary. Gabby's coming after me. I'm traumatized by Gabby, but she was the one leading the charge against her and going at her hard and picking at every little thing she could to go at her. And I'm going to say this with my whole chest. Trisha used Jesse's story as if she cared about it to harm Gabby. She never cared about it. Trisha lied. Trisha ended up going on Gabby's podcast. She ended up pretending that she didn't know half of the things that Gabby talked about. There was one section where Gabby was talking about how I went through the rice gum situation. And for those who know and those who don't, there was an incident with Gabby and rice gum where Gabby accused rice gum of hitting her at a party, knocking her phone out of her hand. Now, on the podcast, Trisha acted like she had no idea that this had happened. She was like, oh my God, what? Keep in mind, this was after Trisha tried the takedown of Gabby. She said, oh my God, what? How? I never knew that about you and Rice Gum. What? He turned the internet against you? Meanwhile, you guys, we've showed tweets where Trisha was tweeting, and we've showed videos where Trisha was saying, before the podcast, oh, you lied about Rice Gum. You said it was hitting you. You lied about being hit. She knew it. She knew it years before. She mocked her and claimed that she lied. And then when she went on the podcast with her years later, she was like, I never knew that. Oh my God, you went through that? But she was the one who was telling Gabby, you lied about being hit. It wasn't true. So this is interesting. At the 28-minute mark, Gabby starts talking about how people actually wanted her to come out against David Dobrik. And she said if she would have, she probably would have been accepted by the internet, like she would have been accepted back into the fold. I actually believe this is true because even Trisha herself went on Gabby's podcast and wanted Gabby to talk badly about David Dobrik, but Gabby wouldn't do it. Trisha was like, Gabby told me all kinds of stuff. She wanted Gabby to publicly address it, and Trisha was willing to be friends with Gabby and accept her back and have everyone like her again if she went at David, which Gabby refused to do because Gabby said she just wasn't interested in turning on anyone or exploiting things that she knew. And I find it interesting that had she done it, Trisha would have been singing a different tune about her. Because it's true, like Trisha went on front of me, someone's like, "Oh, and the way David treated Gabby," and because Gabby wouldn't come forward with that information, I don't think Trisha liked that. She wanted to use Gabby as another tool to go at David, and she would have completely accepted Gabby back, but because she didn't, she ended up doing what she did to Gabby. So we're gonna go ahead and show some footage at the end here. I'm gonna go ahead and react to the video that we originally made and just show some of the like bigger points, and I'm gonna kind of break it down for you guys because this is going to show that Trisha not only lied about Gabby, but that she tried to publicly get her removed from the internet for committing the same quote unquote crimes that Trisha herself committed many times. And it just goes to show the hypocrisy and the lies, and that she never truly cared about what Gabby was doing because she was doing it herself. She only was using it against her to, like I said, get her removed. So here in this clip, the first clip you're going to see is her actually talking about how David was too brutal to Gabby. And then Trisha refers to Gabby as David's victim. Check it out.
You know, the way the David and his friend group treated Gabby, because I think unanimously the whole internet was like, wow, that was brutal. In that case, she's the victim. And I say that sincerely. There's a lot of instances where she is a victim.
So Trisha says that Gabby is the victim in some scenarios. We would agree because we would say that she was a victim in the Trisha scenario. But it is interesting that Trisha is able to say there can be sometimes when she's the victim. She is the innocent one in some cases. Again, like we said in the beginning of this video, in this case between Trisha and Gabby, Gabby was the victim. Now here's a point we made. We said one of Trisha Paytas' biggest gripes is being compared to Gabbie Hanna. She's even gone off on Ethan Klein and his mother for making the comparison.
On frenemies, you did a whole episode Trisha Paytas for Gabbie Hanna when you know she triggers me, comparing me, saying I'm the same person, that they were the same person, that I'm a liar. Show me a lie.
So, like you see, she gets mad and she says, "You know Gabby triggers me, and yet you compare her to me." But yet, when Gabby went on Trisha's podcast, she told her, "Oh my God, I'm so obsessed with your podcast. I watch it all the time. I'm like obsessed with it." So how can you be triggered by Ethan and his mother mentioning that you're like Gabbie Hanna? Like the mere mention of her name triggers you so bad, but yet you can tune into her podcast every week to check out the new episode. That doesn't make any sense. Also, Trisha tweeted, "They did a whole episode comparing me to my biggest trigger, Gabbie Hanna. Put us in the thumbnail, title, compared us, but I talked to someone he doesn't like. Let's send the mob hate my way." You guys, again, this was after she went on Keemstar's podcast. She's trying to downplay this by saying, "Well, look what Ethan did to me. He put Gabbie Hanna in the thumbnail with me. He mentioned her. She's my biggest trigger." She was not her biggest trigger. Again, Trisha herself went on Gabby's own podcast after this tweet. Sometime after this tweet, she went on Gabby's podcast and told Gabby she loved her podcast and she watched it all the time and she was obsessed with it. So there's no way that Ethan triggered her or his mother triggered her by mentioning a name of a girl that Trisha was tuning in every week to watch the podcast of. So we said, yet here Trisha herself is comparing the two of them as being similar and behaving in the same way, not only to Ethan, but to Gabby herself as well, comparing their same manner of trolling and their same way of reacting when triggered. This just justifies why Ethan and his mother compared Gabby to Trisha, because even Trisha herself knows that the two of them behave very similarly. Let's check it out.
Gabbie Hanna TikTok live she got banned during this?
One, do you hate who
It's a lot.
I've become?
What?
Cause I hate who I've become.
No, I know what this is, though. This is trolling.
Is this whole thing?
She
just
copies
whatever?
my format to the extreme because now that she had this manic episode and she had a breakdown, she's trying to like, I used to do that time in 2017. Like, you know, you just like are trying to like distract people. Like, look, I'm trolling. I feel like we're also kind of similar where she like gets really
Again, she says, I did the same thing. She's doing the same thing as me. And then in the very next clip, she says, we're very similar. So she herself compared herself to Gabby, to Ethan. She also talks about comparing herself to Gabby on her own. Yet she weaponizes it against Ethan and his mother when she says that they took it too far by comparing her to Gabby, even though she herself did it. Even though she herself did it. That was her trying to paint them in a bad light and trying to get them canceled, Ethan and his mother, for doing something that she did.
defensive and like, I don't know, because I know triggers and like when you go to that place, it sucks. And then like, yeah, and then you become a different person, you become defensive. Like, I think that's when I had like, I think I felt the worst and the most sympathy for you is when you had that podcast and you like really got on the defensive and I was like, oh, I know this, when you just like lose your.
Again, she compared them being very similar to Gabby herself. She said, I understand you because I react the way that you do. She said in the car with Moses, I understand Gabby because I react the way that she does. We behave similarly. She told Ethan, she's using the same tactics I use. Yet when Ethan and his mother say, Gabby and Trisha are very similar, Trisha says, look what Ethan and his mother are doing. They're taking things too far. They're triggering me. How dare they trigger me and say that I'm so similar to the person traumatizing me? Yet she herself was saying all of that by herself. So we then say, Trisha makes a point to call out Gabby for her temper tantrums on the set of Escape the Night, stating that she would never do that on a set.
You know, there's just people who don't respect the work that people put in, or people like Gabby yelling at the Escape the Night crew because they changed the schedule or didn't have food for her when she didn't even put in the request. You know, it's like, I don't know. I've never understood people being rude to those people that are like helping you make something.
So this isn't to defend Gabby's behavior on the set of Escape the Night. This is to point out that Trisha herself behaved the same way on a set before. So she's criticizing her and saying, I can't even believe it. I don't know who would do that. And then she herself admits to doing it. So we wrote, but admits here to throwing a tantrum on the set of her own music video shoot, retelling the story with a smile on her face as if it's cute.
I was throwing a temper tantrum yesterday during the video shoot.
So she talks about throwing a temper tantrum while she's smiling. Let's take a look at that again.
I was throwing a temper tantrum yesterday during the video shoot.
Like, that makes her happy. That's cute. She said she couldn't believe it when Gabby did it. She couldn't believe that Gabby would act up on a set, but then she happily says that she herself does the same thing. We then go on to say she even admits here that she's a difficult person to work with, which is what she was getting on to Gabby for.
God bless Adam Simmons. Oh my God. And Joe Volpus. It's Joe. And my tour managers, Danny and Todd. And truly, everyone at full screen. I can be a difficult person to work with.
So she's clearly a difficult person to work with because, like she said before, proudly, she throws tantrums on music video sets. And we know she does a lot of music videos. Now, let's see what we said here. We said, and if anyone needs a visual reminder for proof of that claim, here is a compilation of Trisha attacking her former podcast co-host Ethan in multiple episodes of Frenemies before storming off. If Trisha describes Gabby as a nightmare on set for her dietary demands, what the heck would she describe these personal attacks against Ethan, his family, and their podcast as? And we all remember how she mistreated Ethan on the set of Frenemies. It was absolutely diabolical and inhuman how she treated Ethan. And then what was even more diabolical was that once she left, she tried to say Ethan mistreated her, even though all of this footage existed. Like, imagine storming off of the set of your work multiple times and having the gall to say that you don't treat people that way.
I can see why you've been with the same person for 12 years.
Thanks.
I'm so over it. I don't
Really?
even care if
I'm
Moses
not.
breaks up with me over this. Bye.
Why would Moses break up over a podcast?
Because I don't like his family. And I don't like hanging out with you guys. And you guys are awful. And that's it. Okay.
Should we resolve this issue?
No, I'm
before
over
we
it.
end
I'm so over it.
You just said
so
let's
over it.
talk.
I'm not doing the next episode for real. I'm over it.
You just said let's talk.
Because you said, oh, you're shutting down. I'm like, I'll talk to you. Talk.
Very professional, by the way, to just tell your boss and your co-host that you're just not going to show up because you're upset with them, and to go after their entire family because you're upset with them.
You got me for 10 more minutes.
Yeah, I apologize.
I don't apologize for anything I said about you.
That's okay.
And I'll say it again. Well, you look unhappy in life, so I really hope you feel
No.
better. I know it came from a place that you're
Wait,
actually miserable.
I know. Yeah.
I know you are.
Because
And feel bad that you're miserable.
I thought we were.
Good luck. And I'm sorry about your family situation. I'm sorry about your situation.
No,
I know you're miserable.
No, it's
You
not
are.
true.
I can tell. I can tell.
I know people forget, but this is a work environment, you guys. This is the way that she's talking to her coworker. This is her on the set of a show where she's mistreating her co-host. This is uncomfortable. This is unprofessional. This is exactly the type of behavior that she was condemning Gabbie Hanna for, but that she did worse and tenfold. Yes, Gabby behaved poorly on the set of Escape the Night. I think we can all agree on that. But Trisha also behaved diabolically, demonically to Ethan. This was not okay. It's not okay that she treated her coworker like this.
And it's sadness. And I see you when I was around your family that you have sadness in you, and it's sad. Cool. I'll weaponize you later then on my channel. Can't wait for the weapon.
Imagine berating and then threatening your coworker like that and thinking that it's perfectly fine and acceptable, and then going on to condemn someone else for behaving ill, like for behaving poorly on a set, but you behaved like this.
Weaponizing. When I have a kid, I'm not gonna have nannies. That's for.
What does that mean? You're not gonna have a babysitter when you have a kid? How are you gonna do anything? You're gonna. What does that mean? You're trying to attack our parental.
Not only did Trisha attack Ethan, she attacked his wife, she attacked his mother, she attacked his father, she attacked the way his children were being raised. She attacked everything about this man on the set of their job. This was their job. This is a workplace, and this is how she's treating him hostilely in their workplace.
Abilities?
Let's just move on. On this podcast, don't even mention her. She's a queen. Like, don't even
Like her.
Eno says, don't talk about me on the podcast. All I said was you should have the guests. Okay, let's go
I
to
just
your
wanted to
stupid.
make sure that everyone
I don't
got
like this
pizza.
segment. Just for the record, fan advice is a stupid segment. But
Why?
we can do it.
And that's also her not only coming at him, but his employees, which she did many times before. She not only attacked Ethan, his wife, his father, his mother, his children, the way they were raised, she also attacked every employee that Ethan had. She here was ragging on a segment that a new employee had come up with, but this isn't even the worst thing that she did to an employee. She constantly talked about these employees. She constantly told him she wanted them fired. She then even went so far as to get the entire internet to turn on one employee, AB, and had them sending him threats saying that the threats were okay because they weren't a big deal and that he shouldn't have said anything if he didn't want them. So this person saying that someone behaved so poorly on set and she just couldn't believe how anyone could do this, her doing this to Ethan and his entire crew is disgusting, and it's crazy that she wouldn't see the hypocrisy in how she treated Ethan and his crew versus how she said Gabby treated Joey Graceffa and his crew.
It's so dumb. It's such a dumb segment.
It's so not.
It's
It's
like we
fun.
have
Well,
nothing to fill
sometimes
the time.
10
Just
years
to me,
ago?
it's like a lazy podcast. Like we're gonna play games on the like you know.
a lazy podcast. You don't do anything for it. You just show up. We do all the work.
Oh my god, yeah, right. First of all, when you
Again, she talks about, before she talked about how Gabby criticized the work of Escape the Night, but look at what Trisha's doing to Ethan. She's doing the same exact thing, but worse. She's making it personal attacks against all of the employees, against Ethan and all of his family. This is not okay behavior, yet everyone kind of just laughed at it and brushed it aside and just thought like, oh, Trisha's going off again. She's storming out. But think about if this actually happened to you at work and how uncomfortable Ethan must have been and what kind of position he must have been in to have to sit there and be berated by his coworker just to keep his job, just to keep this job going.
were doing all the podcasts, it was like Keemstar, Jake Paul, like, and everyone's like, we're so sick of hearing about this because it's everything. Like I saw on this, you had stuff from last H3. You just recycle H3 content on Frenemies.
Oh wait,
over it.
you just hate me so much. I just
do,
wish there was a
and
way.
I do, and like I
to tone
know,
it down.
yeah, whatever. There is because I
Telling your coworker that you hate them, by the way, at your workplace, by the way. I know it's a podcast, I know it's the internet, and people think that it's not that serious, but this was still her workplace. This was still his home. She went to his home where they worked, and she was vile and disgusting to not only him, but his family.
I hate people just like that are you. You're the person I hate in this world. Love you.
All right, Trisha.
Bye. Thanks for the great episode. We were talked about. They never once consulted me at the
I
beginning
said
of
it's a
spring. She has a. I really need to leave.
Okay. All right. We're done. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Storming out of the podcast, by the way, 3 different times. 3 different times. 3 different times she rage quit the podcast. And that's somehow more professional than the way that Gabby was behaving on Escape Tonight. She had no room to talk when she mistreated Ethan and his family and his coworkers and his employees this bad. We also say, in another hypocritical instance, Ethan comments on someone's mental stability and Trisha corrects him and says that they shouldn't diagnose people like that.
Just every time I watch him, he's so unstable and mentally just so unhealthy.
Well, we don't want to like give him a diagnosis of being unstable. Maybe he's fine. Maybe he's trolling.
So she corrects Ethan as if he did something wrong and says, well, we don't want to diagnose him. We don't want to say he's mentally unstable. But then, like we said, but here she is diagnosing Gabby as mentally unstable because somehow that's okay.
No, because what I really want to say is you're psychotic, but I'm being like nice because I'm in your house. She like didn't get it. She was just, and she still doesn't. And like, but she is. And
Calls her psychotic, says she is, but Ethan wasn't allowed to say that that guy was perhaps mentally unstable. But let's see what else we said. Goes in on her harder here about it, insisting that Gabby is mentally unwell.
There's no issue. You have a mental health problem and you are not getting treatment. Going to therapy is not a treatment. You need serious help, Gabby.
So it's okay to say that to someone. It wasn't okay for Ethan to diagnose someone, but she was allowed to diagnose Gabby and say that she needed basically severe mental health. And it's interesting that Trisha goes at Gabby for not getting the kind of treatment that Trisha thinks that she deserves. Yet Trisha made a comment saying that she never wanted to get help herself because she wanted to stay the way that she was because she liked the way that she was. And she wanted people to just love her through it. Yet she shames Gabby for not getting the proper help that she believes that Gabby needs. Yet she herself wouldn't get help at all. She wouldn't even go to therapy. She ended up only doing that toward the end of Frenemies when she was pretty much forced to.
Like, if someone doesn't want to change, they're not going to, and I don't think I'm going to. Because I don't think I want to. And if that means being alone, then that's what it means, you know? But I like who I am. That's the problem.
She likes who she was. This is Trisha's thing. She didn't want to ever change. She said that you can only change if you want to change. And she specifically said, I don't want to change. I like who I am, so I don't want to change. Even if that means being alone. Because she couldn't stop herself from harming other people. So she said, I don't want to change. I want to keep doing this. I want someone to love me in spite of this.
Like, I like who I am, and I like what I like, and I just don't want to change it. But I just want someone to, like, love me and see through it and see past it, and I just...
She wanted someone to love her and see past it. For someone to just allow her to continue to behave the way that she did without facing any repercussions. That's what she wanted. So for her to shame Gabby and say, you're not getting the kind of help you need to get more help, while she wasn't willing to get any help at all, again, it's just hypocritical. Now, we also said, Trisha and Ethan make the claim that Gabby is guilty of harming Trisha's mental health by making Trisha question her own reality.
I've never shared anything with her, but she's saying I shared all these secrets, and then all of a sudden my brain started spinning that way. So I had like a breakdown. Like I had a true
she's making you question
breakdown.
your reality.
Yeah.
That is exactly, by the way, what Trisha did to Gabby by trying to tell her that everything that happened between them never happened. So Ethan sympathizes with Trisha, like, yeah, she's making you question your reality, when the truth is that Trisha was making Gabby question her reality. So we said, but here Trisha is in clear footage telling Gabby that what Gabby believes is reality is not real in an obvious attempt to cause Gabby to question Gabby's own reality, repeatedly calling her delusional.
You are so scary delusional. You are scary delusional. Get off the internet.
So it's okay to call someone scary delusional, making them question their reality, but it wasn't okay for Gabby allegedly to make her question her reality. Remember, this is the same woman that told Gabby that they had never interacted, that they never spoke, that they weren't friends, and there's unlimited amounts of proof that they did in fact speak And Gabby even attended her birthday. That's not just a stranger that she didn't know. That's not the story that Trisha presented. Yet she had the entire internet believing it and having Gabby questioning her reality. We also said Trisha finds it weird that Gabby's boyfriend was getting involved with Gabby's drama by replying to people on Twitter who attacked Gabby, referencing his support as enabling her.
Twitter just and getting her boyfriend involved in it.
She was going on Twitter just like, you know, like just battling every single hater or drama channel or whoever would tweet her. And like her boyfriend was chiming in and I'm like, why?
So she couldn't understand the fact that why Gabby's boyfriend at the time was getting involved. She was acting as if it was a negative thing, that he should not have been involved. Yet, like we said here, but Moses did the same exact thing during Trisha's own drama, responding to every single negative comment that came her way. Here are just a few examples. So somebody had said, "You're ruining your own life just to prove a point, marrying a crazy person just to spite your family. It is sad and embarrassing for you." He says, "This is another lie Ethan put out there to hurt me. I never dated someone to spite my family, ever. My family, not Ethan's, love Trisha and are so happy for me. You were so manipulated by his words that it is scary, actually scary." By the way, this is how Trisha speaks. Trisha says things like, "That's scary, that's actually scary." Moses doesn't even talk like this. So I would not be surprised if this was actually Trisha under Moses' account. By the way, my family loves Trisha. Really? Did Ela love Trisha? Were they so happy for you when Trisha was criticizing Ela's parenting and criticizing Ela as a woman? Highly doubt it. So another person said, "Weaponizing your fan base against Moses and Trisha to this extent is more harmful than going on a podcast. Their comment sections are horrific. Ethan trying to play it off like it's not H3 fans instead of just telling them to tone it down." To which Moses replied, "H3 subreddit is the source of all of it. They can't say it is not their fans. You are not even seeing the extent of their comments and actions that we see, since most are filtered out as hate speech, but we do see it, and it is far worse than calling someone a horse." You know, this is so disgusting because the person that he's saying was referred to as a horse was his own sister. So so Moses is basically saying, that's what Keem did. Keem calling my sister a horse. That's nothing compared to the amount of attention Ethan's giving us. It's nothing compared to the amount of hate we're getting. Who cares if Keem called my sister a horse? Look at the hate we're getting for talking to Keem, who called my sister a horse, but that wasn't a big deal. Actually disgusting that an older brother could so casually overlook that. So how was Trisha going to say that Gabbie Hanna's boyfriend crossed the line by replying to so much hate and that it was so wrong that he did it, yet Moses is here doing the exact same thing and throwing his family under the bus while doing so? Trisha said she got with you to spite Ethan and Ela. Her words. She sent him unsolicited photos of herself, baited to him on OF, in a fountain in their kid played in, flirted with him constantly in front of you and his wife, and accused him of being her. To which Moses replied, "She never did that in the fountain. You believe every word that was said to entertain you and to be funny, and now you want to hold it as truth. Time to find another show to watch. Sorry that this one is over." Oh, so you're just going to casually ignore everything else that this person said? You're going to casually just ignore that Trisha said that she got with you despite Ethan and Ela? You're going to casually pretend that she didn't say that Trisha sent unsolicited photos of herself and did something on OF about your sister and your brother-in-law? Get out of here. That's what he responds to. None of the actual truth. He just found the one thing that he was like, "Oh, she never really did that." And that's the thing that he thinks he gets away with. That's the only thing he responds to. Weak argument. Somebody else said, "There is a man in his 40s replying to randoms on Twitter, trashing his brother-in-law and sister. Isn't that wild? Couldn't be me." Replying to randoms on Twitter. This person was calling out Moses for doing the exact same thing that Trisha said that Gabby's boyfriend was doing. Moses replies, "At least I don't make videos with my mom trashing him." Moses still just living up to responding to every single person responding to hate. But yeah, Trisha, Gabby's boyfriend went too far, even though Trisha's husband was doing the exact same thing. Somebody else said, "I forgot, didn't Trisha make you get rid of all your cats?" To which Moses replied, No, I never had cats live with me. I'm allergic to cats. Any other ugly comments you want to share? Never had cats live with me, but he had all of them living in his museum with him. Had them around his neck, you guys. Was constantly with them. Again, Moses just responding every single person. Yet Trisha thought it was so weird that Gabby's boyfriend did, but it's not weird when Moses does it. Someone said, sure, your sister has... There's so many comments, we're not even done reading the comments yet. And these are just a few, like we said. Someone else said, sure, your sister been a guy who you went to a podcast with for over a year isn't news, huh? To which Moses replied, I went to support my wife. And you haven't listened to a word she said on that pod. Your point? So you support your wife over your sister. Your idea of supporting your wife is to support your wife going on a podcast of a man who trashed your sister and made her cry. You just said that Keem made Ela cry. And Moses is just okay with that because, hey, I'm supporting my wife going on this podcast. How about you support your sister? Oh, look, more comments. They're still not over. Someone said, I'll never understand why you and Trisha are together. Moses says, when you let go of judgment, you will know true love. Again, you guys, Moses responding to every single comment. Also, him and Trisha must not know true love because they are two of the most judgmental people we've ever seen, right? Again, more comments. Y'all are so quick to come attack Moses not knowing half the story, to which Moses says they didn't even listen to the actual conversation, and if they think I will not go with her to make sure my wife is okay, then no wonder they are single. Have such a beautiful soul and relationship. I'm sorry for them. So then someone says, have such a beautiful soul and relationship. I'm sorry for them. To which Moses replies, they didn't even watch the podcast she was on. So obviously they are just being hateful as usual. They live in a world of hate and judgment. I don't. He is absorbed in a hate and judgment. He married into a world of hate and judgment when he married Trisha. This is Moses responding nonstop to hateful comments, or even comments that are not hateful, so that he can speak hatefully in reference to even positive comments. Oh, another. Someone said, no, what's the lie? You and Trisha keep saying everyone is lying. About what? What? You are both so pathetic, and millions of people on the internet have watched Trisha for years. We know who she is because she posts everything. Actions have consequences, Moses. To which Moses replied, when they post the last frenemies, you will know what they lies were. Why do you think they don't post it? Again, Moses responding to every single comment and vilifying his brother and sister in the process. And as we said, so by Trisha's logic, Moses would also be considered an enabler, just like she accused Gabbie Hanna's boyfriend of being. So we then say, here she shames Gabby for coming at an alleged minor on a forum.
She was like, she was like her 12-year-old, like recently.
So she condemns Gabby for attacking a minor, but then she herself has a history of harassing minors. One case in which one of the minors begged and pleaded to be left alone.
I'm just going to say it, Trisha Paytas, like this is not, sorry, just you have been completely rude to me multiple times, saying she doesn't have a personality, she can't dance, she's basic, like you have your own problems, please stop worrying about mine. And that's all I have to say on that. Quite honestly, I just, like, please stop talking about me. You're not a very nice person.
That was a 16-year-old child, by the way. A 16-year-old child begging a 30-year-old woman to leave her alone and stop attacking her. But yet she paints this picture as if Gabby is evil for going at a child. But she does the same thing, you guys. And instead of stopping, like asked, she doubled down and continued to minor, using the excuse that what she was doing was okay because others were being harsher.
Being held accountable for your actions online, for behavior that I think is not acceptable, isn't rude. You said, Trisha Paytas, you've been rude to me multiple times. We've never met. There are people being way harsher on you.
So again, not only is she okay with attacking a minor, when the minor begs her to stop, Trisha has the gall to sit there and mock her and be like, I'm not going to stop. There's other people being harsher on you. But yet she acts like Gabby is a villain for attacking a minor, but she's attacking a minor. This is what I'm saying. She says we should take down Gabby for all of these reasons, but they're all things that she herself was actively doing too. So why would we only take Gabby down? Why would Gabby be the bad guy if Trisha is doing it too? In another instance of attacking a minor, she acknowledges coming after Gabbie Hanna's high school aged sister, laughing during her apology for it.
I do apologize to your sister that I trolled on TikTok.
She was really upset. She was,
I don't know how old she
remember.
was. I truly feel bad, especially when they're like young. Like I don't know how old she is. She's like a high schooler.
So she didn't care. She knew she was young. She knew she was young, a teen, a high schooler, and yet she still did it. And she laughs throughout the fake apology about how she came at her and says, sometimes I feel bad when they're young. Did she seem to feel bad in that Charlie clip? It didn't seem like she felt bad to us at all. So what we're trying to prove here is, like I said, Trisha wanted to get everyone to turn against Gabby and cancel her for various reasons by reminding everyone just how bad Gabby was. Gabby did this, Gabby did this, Gabby did this. Don't forget, Gabby did this. But we're showing you that Trisha was doing the exact same things at the exact same time, if not worse. So it makes no sense that she was gunning for Gabby when she was worse than Gabby. She was doing everything that Gabby did, only worse. And yes, I say worse because Trisha was actively harming physically her partners, every single one. But let's keep going. We also said, in another hypocritical moment, Trisha acted as if it were wrong for Gabby to come at another channel for its low views.
She's a girl for having 4,000 views on her video when her podcast gets 20,000 views. I'm like, girl, like yours is not any, like why?
So Trisha acts like she's so bewildered that Gabby would come at someone for low views because she's like, why are you coming at someone for that? That's a weird thing to come at someone for. And look at you, you have low views. But then we wrote, but is guilty of doing the same exact thing to multiple smaller channels. So let's take a look at that.
I called out this commentary channel that has like literally 2,000 views every video or whatever. There's a lot of drama channels that have like 2,000 views a video. There's not whatever. There's a lot of drama channels that have like 2,000 views a video. There's not whatever.
That's her coming at them, you guys. That's her trying to diminish it by being like, it only had 2,000 views. I mean, there's a lot that only has 2,000 views because that's low to her. She's like picking at them. She even did this. I know Joy Sparkle is not a good person, but she even did this to Joy Sparkle when she was trying to get that channel taken down, and she was like, oh, she's such a little channel and blah, blah, blah. So she's done the same exact thing. We also said on the last episode of Front of Me, she accused Gabbie Hanna of starting the rumor about her.
A video saying, Gabby, I don't have, you're a psycho, leave me alone. Like that's the video. That's all I said. She started the rumor about me, and that's why it's so frustrating.
But she knew that wasn't true.
So that's not true. Gabby didn't start the rumor. Again, Trisha even acknowledged that Shane was the one who started the rumor, and Gabby repeated it to Jason. But we said, but she knew that wasn't true because she herself admitted in a prior episode that it was Shane who started the rumor, which she heard from multiple other people. So let's check that out.
Not to bring it all the way back, but I've always heard like Gabbie Hanna had said that he was the one that told her I had her
So
information.
why would Shane tell her that?
Because they were really close at the time that I was like in the whatever David's femme group and whatever, and him and Gabby were close, and like
So
I've heard it from other people, and I'll just say that like other YouTubers that were mutual friends of us also said Shane talking, and I never wanted to believe it.
And on the subject.
So again, she knew that it was Shane who started it. She said multiple other people told her that Shane would talk about her. So she knows that it wasn't Gabby, yet she then twists the story as if Gabby started the rumor when she didn't. So we go on to say, and on the subject of the rumor, she claimed that Gabby's Instagram story about the rumor came before her video where she exposed Gabby for.
When the thing came out, she posted on Instagram the text message with my name and her, and that's when I made the video. I'm like, Gabby, you are psychotic. You've been harassing me for years. Like, leave me alone. This is my leave me alone.
So we then went on to say, because that was her claim, we then went on to say, but neither Trisha's name nor picture were visible in that Instagram story as they were blocked out. At best, the internet had only guessed that it was Trisha, which Trisha confirmed by posting her exposed video on Gabby shortly after, where she addressed the rumor situation. So this is what Gabby posted. Gabby posted this. You don't see anything, but it says, if I'm being honest with you. Okay, this is Trisha to Gabby, and Gabby posted this. So Trisha said, if I'm being honest with you, you told blank I had blank, and that because we had blank, he had blank. That is the reason I don't respond, way before we even started dating. I don't have blank. If I did, I'd be an open book about it. And if I did, it's also no one's business but mine and my partner's. So this is actually an interesting twist in the conversation or in the story, because Trisha says that not only did Gabby say, hey, she has this, but now you have this because you slept with her. This is an incurable thing that they're talking about. So if she had it and they had slept together unprotected, like Jason said, that would be true. He would have it. But I didn't hear this version of the story until reading this. But they haven't been telling this version of the story since reading this. So let's see. She also says, if I did, I'd be an open book about it. We already showed you guys a tweet where she would not be an open book about it. She actually encouraged people not to tell people if they had anything. So I'm going to go ahead and include that tweet again. Now, Gabby responds by saying, first of all, I didn't tell blank you had blank. I told him a very close person to you told me you did, and I told him to make sure he's safe, which is what a good friend would do. If you found out your friend was having unprotected blank with someone who you've blank, blank, blank. Okay, so people argued that the N here, which can be seen, was proof enough, was evidence left enough for people to find out that it was Jason. But let's see what the next cap says to see if that's actually true. Gabby said, been told has blank. You would tell them to be safe too. I didn't pull that info out of my butt. It was brought to me, and I care about blank and all of my friends' health. So yeah, I told him to be careful and have safe blank. Maybe examine who you're trusting your secrets with. I never started any rumors about you, and I never said it to anyone but him when he told me you had blank, which you had slept together. And I wouldn't have told him otherwise. And I told him as a friend who I wanted to protect. I hope you'd do the same for your friends. Anyway, I hope you're well and continue to get better. And I'm sorry if you were hurt by it, but I really didn't do anything wrong, in my opinion. I would 1,000%, I would 100,000% expect my friends to bring it to my attention too. Glad you finally said something though. I know you've been iced out by people before and know what that feels like to be left without any type of explanation or closure, so I appreciate it. I really do feel for you and will always be an ear if you need someone. I don't hold grudges. Just know you're not alone, even when you feel you are. And as you can see up here, there's a slight profile picture left to show who she was speaking to. People say that this was enough to prove that it was Trisha because Trisha's profile pic looked similar. But as you can see, it's the very top of something. I suppose this was enough evidence left behind if we're going to get into it. But let's keep going because we have a point here. We said, this situation itself is eerily similar to Trisha's beef with the author of the BuzzFeed article about Gabby. Trisha claims she never mentioned the author of the article on Twitter by name, but she publicly spoke out against her first, drawing attention to the author whose name was publicly attached to the article.
And I didn't even mention her on Twitter, the author. The author inserted herself. So, like, that at mention, I never at mentioned her. I just said, like, whatever. And then she inserted herself and said some tweet. But
so this was when Trisha was getting flack because a BuzzFeed author said, Trisha, you are bringing hate my way because you said my name and you said that I did something to you, and now everyone's coming at me. And Trisha's like, I didn't even say anything about you. Like, Trisha was like, I didn't even mention you. So Trisha had tweeted, the fact that BuzzFeed didn't fact check, once again, me and Gabby were never friends. Gabby has said this herself, and what sponsors did she lose? Gabby is beyond delusional. That's her making her question her reality again. I never called any companies. I made a video years ago so she would leave me alone. The scariest part is the same author of this article came to interview me for an article. I asked her to not connect me to Gabby in any way. Gabby is a very dangerous person online. People to no end. She declined to name the record deal she lost because there wasn't one. Even seeing my name in there triggers me to no end. I can't believe they couldn't fact check the most basic things. Gabby blames me for people not liking her because she wants to be connected to me in some way so bad. She's a sick, sick individual. I'm triggered AF right now. I've asked her to leave me alone. I asked the BuzzFeed author to not mention her or me in the same articles. It just puts gas in the flame that is Gabby's obsession with me. So Trisha obviously left enough clues to find out who the author was because she specifically said the author of the Gabbie Hanna article and also the one who interviewed me. It's enough clues to find out who it is, especially when she says it's literally the author of the article. But we said the author responded confirming who it was that Trisha was talking about, which was public information anyway, since the author's name was clearly on the already published article, meaning that even if Trisha hadn't tweeted her back, calling her out in the first place made it clear who she was talking about. drawing a mob of negative attention toward the author's way. We said which Trisha ensured by publicly stating that the author had triggered and traumatized her. So, of course, her stands were going to go after this woman because they were going to be like, oh my God, she targeted our queen. So, of course, they're going to go at her. So, if Trisha had a problem with Gabby not being careful enough to protect Trisha's identity and Gabby's Instagram story about the rumor situation, why wasn't Trisha more careful in protecting the BuzzFeed author's identity when she went on her own attack? In both instances, neither Gabby nor Trisha actually showed the names of the people they were talking about, but both left just enough clues for the public to figure it out. So she did the same exact thing. She didn't protect someone's identity, and this was someone who didn't even have that much influence over the internet, someone who wouldn't have been prepared. Like, Gabby and Trisha are very public figures. They both would have been prepared for whatever backlash they received. However, this random BuzzFeed author didn't deserve an influencer to say, this author traumatized me and triggered me, and she did this and that. She sent a mob her way, and the author had even stated so by adding her and explaining, like, I didn't mean to do anything to you. Now everyone's coming at me. So Trisha did the same thing Gabby did. Now, we also said in yet another moment of identical instances, Trisha and Ethan both shamed Gabby for her reaction to another creator who passed her for not being his type, claiming that she went overboard in response to him not being attracted to her, which is true. Gabby did go overboard about this guy playing Smash or Pass. But our point is that Trisha also goes overboard at one point.
It's true.
Let me tell you about the day I met him. So before I met him, he played a game of Smash or Pass publicly on YouTube. And when my picture came up, he dehumanized me and demeaned me. You know, like a misogynistic, disgusting acts as if he could have a chance with me anyway.
Now, by the way, I'll say that Smash or Pass is gross. It is kind of a gross game to play like that.
But
So they're going to say that Gabby overreacted, which, in my personal opinion, I do believe Gabby overreacted. I agree with Ethan that the game itself is disgusting. But I agree with Ethan that the game itself is disgusting. But Gabby definitely went overboard and acted like Dominic had done something to her that he did not do. In fact, he actually just passed. He didn't even say anything bad about her.
She also played it twice.
Oh, she's done it before?
Oh, yeah. She
well, then
said,
shut the fuck up.
Timothy Delgado, this YouTuber, and he said this girl, and she goes, ew, she's so gross. Like, it was about, she says that
she's
this.
such a hypocrite.
Yeah, it's a hypocrite.
Okay,
So that's okay that they're calling her a hypocrite because Gabby can be a hypocrite sometimes, I agree. But what is blowing my mind here is that Trisha is also we're about to show you that she was also a hypocrite in this moment because she is about to do the same exact thing that they're going to accuse Gabby of doing. But first, let's get through Gabby.
And forget it. But
Yeah.
okay, so this guy on the left, she's saying dehumanized her, okay? Who says, he just pulled up a sign that said pass.
Pass. Why would you pass on Gabby? It's not my type, man.
Said she's not my type, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he didn't make a big deal. He just said she's not my type. It was nothing personal. But you're about to see that someone does the same exact thing to Trisha or very similar, and she goes overboard about it, just like Gabby did. Again, very similar. So Ethan and his mom were not lying when he said they were similar.
Yeah.
That's literally all.
Yo, it's fine. Nobody on my vlog channel knows.
Oh, yeah, and then she hits him with the nobody knows who you are. Like, she's some big time.
I literally had never, I did not know anything about Gabby.
I thought that clip.
Keep in mind that Ethan calling out that she pulled the nobody knows who you are card because that's exactly what Trisha's going to do when another guy does something very similar to her and rejects her. She's going to pull the same exact card.
Was great because it really shows the distortion of reality.
It's so crazy. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just there's facts that she's a delusional person, and it's just scary. It's just really scary.
So there's facts that she's a delusional person, and it's very scary. It's actually scary, which, by the way, again, that looked like the Moses tweet. Very scary, actually scary. Exactly her words. But we're going to show how the same thing happened with Trisha and Joe Rogan, because it did. So we wrote, however, Trisha did the same exact thing to Joe Rogan for simply passing her up as well, making an 8-minute long response video simply because Joe said she wasn't his type. In a video where he didn't insult her even once.
Look on the one of her in her bikini. Let me see how she would look right down there on the bottom. On the bottom. There you go. Yeah, you can keep that.
Of course, Trisha made an 8-minute long response video.
All he said was, you can keep that. He didn't say anything more or anything less. Just, he asked somebody on his show brought up Trisha Paytas. They pulled the pictures of her. He looked at pictures of her and then said, "You can keep that." That was not personal. That was just him saying he was not interested in her. And she proceeded to make multiple videos and talked about it multiple times.
I'm not.
8 is restrained for Trisha. That's really not that
But
bad.
if you see how little she's working with, then maybe you'll be impressed.
I feel like
Even Ethan says if you saw how little of a response it even was for Trisha to come at him, like how little Trisha's working with to make an 8-minute response and then continue on and on and on about it, she did the exact same thing Gabbie Hanna did. She overreacted to nothing. But she goes so hard at Gabby for these things that she herself is doing. She's like, you guys, look at what Gabby's doing. Look how awful Gabby is. These make her a bad person, right? These make her guilty, right? But then she's doing the same things. So we said Ethan praises her for doing the same thing Gabby did that they both trashed her for, attacking a guy who barely said anything other than that she wasn't his type.
So she made like a whole video about it. I don't blame her. I'd be like, Dave Porkboy mentioned me in passing, and I talked about him for an hour. It's just.
So why is it okay that they can do it, but Gabby couldn't do it? Like, what made her response so unhinged, but everyone else's response is okay? Why is it okay for everyone else to overreact, but not Gabby?
Just fun. I like that whole Trisha thing.
So is it good or is it bad? Is it only good when Trisha does it, but bad when Gabby and everyone else does it?
Rogan. I would have done the same thing.
Dear Joe Rogan podcast.
She made like a whole.
I woke up to an onslaught of tweets saying that I was mentioned by the Joe Rogan. Oh my God. Joe Rogan, #1 podcast downloaded on, I don't even know if that's even true anymore. I couldn't find him on YouTube. Apparently he's only on Spotify. I don't know. Look, you don't know me. I don't really know that much about you now.
This is the same energy. This is giving the same exact energy that Gabby was doing in her video about Dominic. It's the same exact energy, you guys. He barely said anything about her. She reacted. Joe Rogan barely said anything about Trisha. She's reacting. Same thing.
I mean, you were really popping on Fear Factor when I was a kid. Other than that, like, I don't know that much either. I could gather a little bit. I could do a little bit of research from the tweets that were coming my way from your followers and then people who just dislike you. Which, hey, a lot of people dislike me too, so I'm not going to judge. I don't go for low blows. Because of 50-year-old men like you who constantly tell me how disgusting and repulsive I am.
Anyway,
but the fact
He didn't even call her repulsive or disgusting. He just said, keep that. She just wasn't his type, and that's okay to not be someone's type.
It's 8 minutes. So
he has no intellect whatsoever. He can't come up with a wittier quip or even just, if I'm not your type, you really don't have to just say anything.
So she's just offended that he wasn't her type. That's it. She's just offended that she wasn't his type. She wasn't his type, that's it. Just like the Dominic and Gabby video, Gabby just wasn't Dominic's type. Trisha is just not Joe's type. It did not warrant the response that they both gave these men. It just didn't matter. It was not that big. It was not that deep. Trisha plenty of times has gone after people and said that they weren't her type and has been like, ew, gross, disgusting. So it makes no sense that she felt the need to do that. And then shame Gabby for doing the same thing. We said, on top of that, Trisha continued to go on and on about it on an episode of Frenemies, having the exact same overreaction that Gabby herself did when a guy told her he wasn't attracted to her.
is like objectively hilarious looking.
He's conventionally unattractive.
Like pull it like that picture of him. No, I wouldn't say he's unattractive. I wouldn't say that.
I would.
Joe Rogan's got a little one. You heard it here from Trisha Paytas.
I mean, it just radiates small. The way he was like, oh, you can keep it. I'll say it again. If a guy has to go out of his way to say how unattractive you are, there's something like deep rooted there. Because if I was truly unattractive, like I don't know who's like unattractive, but like.
So she basically goes as far as to say that Joe secretly wanted her and was secretly attracted to her because if she actually was as disgusting as he said, even though he never said she was disgusting, then he wouldn't have said anything at all. So we then say, she even admits here that Joe didn't say too much about her, but since she believed in her head that he wanted to say more, she went off on him, which is exactly what they accused Gabby of, distorting reality and overreacting. Trisha even pulled the same insult by acting like nobody knew who Joe Rogan was.
He hosted Fear Factor.
Ew.
I love Fear Factor.
That's the only time he was relevant was like in the 90s hosting Fear Factor.
No, he's he's huge.
He's
What are you
not. It's not like he's like, she's fat. Girl.
No, it was, yeah.
But in my head, I think he was probably thinking
he
that.
wanted to say it. You could tell. He said, I'd pass on that. He wanted to say more, but he held his tongue.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean,
Factor stunt, but
Yeah, Joe
He was on
Rogan's
a
pretty
show
wild.
too, like a radio show. Like what was it? News radio. Awful on that show too. Just
Oh,
see you
never.
go.
She claims he's nobody. She doesn't know who he is. He's not like nobody knows who he is. He's not doing much work. And even Ethan's like, that's not true. Joe Rogan's like a popular podcast. And then she goes on to say like, oh, he also did this and this and this. Like, do you know him or do you not know him? Is he relevant or is he not relevant? Why do you know so much about him?
Where is he? That kind of stuff. He's just not
Well, anyway,
good.
he basically just said, "Oh, I'd pass on that," and then you made an 8-minute video, and I was like, "Go."
Yeah.
Exactly. All he basically said was, I pass on that, which is exactly what Dominic said to Gabby, and then Gabby overreacted. That's exactly what Trisha did. All he said was, I pass on that, and then Trisha admits, like, yeah, I made an 8-minute video after all he said was that. You guys, that's the exact same thing. Yet she sits there and criticizes Gabby and says, can you believe, you guys, that she did this? Like, she went off on this, but she's doing the same thing. Now, in another instance, we say Trisha and Ethan claim that they haven't spoken about Gabby on their podcast and that her believing so is crazy, with Trisha citing them only speaking of her once and Ethan claiming he had no recollection of speaking about her at all. Again, you guys, this is making Gabby question her reality, and we're going to prove that they lied. And we're going to prove that Gabby was right.
And Gabby.
I just get scared already because she's like, she thought we'd talk about her every episode when we mentioned her like
Oh
one
yeah,
time.
she said
so.
she did have a great take on Twitter. She goes, she messaged me directly on Twitter. She said, "Ethan, since I'm a reoccurring topic on your show," I was like,
she goes,
I don't remember one time talking about her.
Okay, so he doesn't remember one time talking about her. Trisha claims that they only spoke about her once. Gabby said, I'm a reoccurring theme on your show. And we pointed out, here they are in episodes. Episode 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 15, 16, 17, 22, 27, 29, and 33, bringing her up in some capacity unprovoked. How many episodes is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 episodes. As you can see, it's in the beginning of the podcast, the middle of the podcast, and even toward the very end of the podcast, the very last episode. So they pretty much brought her up from the start to the finish.
Who currently hate on YouTube the most?
Oh my God, wait, what? Oh, easy. Who do I hate, babe? Oh, you're going to get me in trouble.
Hannah, it's Hannah.
Hannah, yeah.
I don't understand this drama with you and Gabbie
Like,
Hanna.
she's like irrelevant. So I don't even want to talk about her because she gets like no views. Like, what's even the point? We're like the two like losers that have been on YouTube for so long, just going at it and not getting views for drop.
Why do you guys
like,
hate each other so much?
The only reason I hate, the only reason I disliked her for the beginning was she like wanted to be my friend. I finally had to tell her, hey.
So this is the very first time that she ends up mentioning Gabby on this podcast. But like I said, we're going to prove that they did recurrently talk about her. So I don't think it's fair for them to deny reality and say, she's crazy. We never spoke about her. It's delusional when she was brought up repeatedly. So Gabby saying, I'm a reoccurring name on your podcast is not false. It's true. So to have her believe that it's false and tell everyone that it's false and have everyone believe that it's false, that's them making her question her reality and having everyone question reality. This is what I meant by it would be frustrating to know the truth about something and multiple people tell you that it's not the truth when there's actual video footage proof that it is.
Hey, you told my boyfriend I had heard it and she told Jason before I
Really?
knew her. And then he didn't want it like for a long time. And then he's like, oh, but Gabby said, I was like, what? Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Weird though, because she says she told my boyfriend and then he didn't want to sleep with me anymore. But then in the actual text messages in the actual messages between Gabby and Trisha says, before we were dating, you told him this. So they weren't even boyfriend and girlfriend at that point.
This crazy. Yeah, like the highlights. You always say Trisha Paytas versus Gabbie Hanna, Trisha Paytas, and you know, I don't even get a percentage of the highlights. This is the worst. I literally made fun of someone the other day, specifically Gabbie Hanna's.
So Trisha says, you always do this. You always put Gabbie Hanna in the titles of the highlights. Yet on that episode where they talked about how they never talk about her, she said that they've only ever talked about her once. Yet now she's saying Ethan constantly uses her name.
Podcast where they were like doing Cards Against Humanity on a podcast. Like, what the? It's not a YouTube collab. I said something about Gabbie Hanna being like, look at this. Like, I hate Gabbie Hanna too. Like, I actually hate that girl because she lied on me. She's collabing with Gabby and like being
interesting because before she said she didn't hate Gabby, and when she went on Gabby's podcast, she said, I don't hate you. But now here she's saying she actually hates Gabbie Hanna.
Like turning into Gabbie Hanna, and she didn't screenshot it.
Yeah.
And he goes, she's not telling me the truth about Gabbie Hanna. Like, I'm going to expose these texts. I have a good grasp of people who are actual psychotic people, and him and Gabbie Hanna are psychotic people. I thought about Gabbie Hanna too.
Again, there she is claiming that someone's mentally psychotic, even though she told Ethan that they couldn't do that. But apparently she can now when it's about Gabby. But look how many times she's mentioning her and how often she brings her up.
If you hit down to Trisha Paytas' level, then you are also trash. Gabbie Hanna.
Damn.
You know.
Charles, the Dixie family. Gabbie Hanna.
But I've always heard like Gabbie Hanna had said that he was the one that told her I had her.
Shut up.
What do you think about what's the thing with Gabbie Hanna? They would give people like animals. They gave Gabbie
multiple episodes, you guys, repeatedly mentioning her name. Yet when she says, hey, you guys mentioned my name a lot, I might as well come on and address something, Ethan says, I don't even remember you being ever mentioned. And Trisha says, we talked about you one time. Trisha brought her up almost every single episode.
Hanna like a sugar glider.
No, you're not on good terms with Gabbie Hanna.
Oh yeah, I'm not. I don't like Gabbie Hanna. I have my own issues with her.
Biggest mean girl of 2020. Let's get a drum roll, please. This is a big one. Gabbie Hanna in third. Really close between you and Gabby, actually.
Gabby's not mean. She just needs help.
So Gabby's not mean. She just needs help. That's her stance now. Yet before she was acting like she was deranged and dangerous and psychotic. But before she was acting like she was drained and dangerous and just mean to everybody. Again, look how often they bring her up.
Most dramatic creator, Jaclyn Hill, Austin, Gabbie Hanna.
Greatest metal breakdown.
I don't think they're gonna show up.
Well, let's say, but they might. Like, let's say Gabbie Hanna is nominated for greatest mental breakdown. She might show up to accept.
No comments.
And I mean, that would be great. I would present her. And then I can see us getting a little argument during her acceptance, and then we could play her off.
Keep in mind, you guys, that look how often they talk about her, and you can't even say, like, oh, maybe they mentioned her after when they said, she says we talk about her all the time. No, you guys, the time that they said Gabby says we talk about her all the time, that was the very last episode of Frenemies. So all of this footage is everything leading up to that moment. So this all happened prior to them saying that Gabby says that they talk about her too much.
We can play the music that's like, okay, play her off.
So it was true what Gabby said, yet they tried to make her believe that it wasn't. Now, there is so much more to this story. There's so much more footage we have. Like, you can see this is an hour-long video, practically. We have multiple very long videos. I'm going to go ahead and just link them, and you can click on them or click them in our bio or click them on the videos that appear, because so you can see them in full if you're interested. But I'm going to stop here. I just wanted to show you guys that it was true that she was trying to take her down. She was doing attacks on her, but she was trying to take her down for things that she herself was doing. So it never made any sense. And it was really weird to like be around at that time and be like, how is this happening when Trisha's guilty of all of the same things that she's accusing Gabby of doing and being? Like I said, there's way more. There's so much more. This is just the tip of the iceberg. But like I said, we're going to go ahead and just link the video so you guys can watch them for yourselves in their full glory. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you agreed with, disagreed with. Let's have a conversation about this. Let's talk about it.